After 10 straight division wins, is it time that the New England Patriots give up the top spot in the AFC East? And which team is the most ready to do it? Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome as we begin to break down the AFC East heading into the 2019 NFL season. Is it just a foregone conclusion that the Patriots are going to win their 11th straight division, or is there going to be another team in here that's getting ready to step up and take the division crown? Before we do that, however, I want to remind everyone, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button as we keep update on all Buffalo sports news, and also follow me on Twitter, link in the description below. If you're a Dolphins or Jets fan and you found this video and like, whoa, I don't need to hear a Bills guy talking up his team, just hold the phone a little bit. I'm not just going to talk up the Buffalo Bills. We're going to talk about all three teams in the AFC East and what their chances are of beating the New England Patriots this year for the AFC East title. Before we do that, I do want to say, hey guys, I'm doing this video hoping that one of these teams does beat the Patriots. However, we are saying with pretty big confidence here that the New England Patriots will probably win the AFC East again, unless some sort of injuries happen or something. I do believe that there's a 60 to 65% chance the New England Patriots are going to win the division. However, there's still that chance, right? There's still that chance that one of these teams, these three teams, can step up and make some noise. The last team to win the AFC East was the Miami Dolphins in 2008, and that is where we're going to get started. We're going to start with the Miami Dolphins. And guys, I know a lot of people out there are talking about how the Dolphins are, done with this season. They're going to, tank this season. Now, I need to remind everyone, hold the brakes. Do Bills fans forget what happened 2 years ago? Who was the team 2 years ago that everyone was counting out, saying, oh, this is a rebuild, this is a year they're going to flop, so that way they can have good draft picks? And then who ended up making the playoffs? Who ended up making the playoffs as a 6th seed, the wild card seed? That was us, our Buffalo Bills. So let's not be so quick to say, oh, the Dolphins are tanking. Oh, it's going to be a down year for the Dolphins. Who knows? They just traded for Josh Rosen. Got some new coaching in there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to break it down. They still got a good running back there. We'll see what happens. So, Miami Dolphins owner Stephen M. Ross, GM Chris Grier is now in charge of trying to turn this around for the Miami Dolphins. Head coach Brian Flores, he is their 13th head coach in Miami Dolphins history. Offensive coordinator Jim Caldwell, a name a lot of us know pretty well around the NFL. And the defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. I want to talk about Josh Rosen for a minute. Again, they traded for Josh Rosen during the NFL draft. Didn't give up too much for him. Only a 2nd and a 5th. And this is his 2nd year in the league. And we've seen quarterbacks like Carson Wentz, a few other guys, I'm forgetting names off the top of my head, but you guys will let me know in the comment section, who had flopped in the first year, but then done pretty well their 2nd year and then continued to grow. And who better teach them how to grow than your offensive coordinator and QB coach Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell will go back to almost the beginning of his coaching career. In 1986, Jim Caldwell was the quarterback coach for Penn State. Who did Penn State have in 1986? Oh yeah, they had a guy by the name of Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins turned out to have a pretty decent NFL career. And then let's not forget his time with the Indianapolis Colts, but he was with that one guy, that Peyton guy, right? Peyton Manning. Of course, we all know Peyton Manning is one of the best in the NFL. Probably could have done it with me as his quarterback coach. However, when you're around greatness, when you're surrounded by greatness, you can't help but soak it in. And some of that knowledge will be reflected both ways. I'm sure Caldwell gave Peyton Manning some knowledge, and I'm sure Caldwell got some knowledge from Peyton Manning. So that could only help a young quarterback like Josh Rosen in this situation. So I personally think Josh Rosen is going to be the day one starter. I don't know what other Dolphins fans think. If you're here, let me know in the comment section. Do you think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to be a day one starter, or do you think that it's going to be Josh Rosen? I think it's going to be Josh Rosen. I don't think Miami's going to be as bad as Vegas projects. Vegas currently has Miami Dolphins having 5 wins this season. I would say bet Miami in the over here. I see 5 wins as kind of like a slap in the face to the Miami Dolphins. I see them easily getting 7 wins. Again, the AFC East actually has, all 4 teams in the AFC East actually have, compared to last season's stats, what I already hate to do, but a pretty easy schedule. So I look at the Miami Dolphins, I look at this team and say, you know what, maybe they can split with the Bills, maybe they can split with the Jets, maybe they can't split with the Patriots, right? This is the one team that always gives the Patriots fits. And you're also talking about, remember last season, Miracle in Miami, great game. And again, this team has a roster. I really wish they would have kept Cameron Drake. That's the one thing I really wish they would have done. But if you look at their draft, they drafted in the first round Christian Wilkins. If you've been following this channel, you know I actually liked Christian Wilkins better than Ed Oliver. I'm happy we got Ed Oliver. Always liked that pick. But I liked Christian Wilkins on the defensive line. And they got him in the first round, number 13 overall. They get Michael Dieter, offensive lineman. They need help on the offensive line, just like the Bills do. And so what they did, they pick up Michael Dieter. Andrew Van Ginkel, linebacker. Isaiah Prince. I really like this pick. Isaiah Prince, number 202 overall from Ohio State. I really like that pick. And then they pick up Chandler Fox and Myles Gaskins, running back, in both those picks in the 7th round. So not bad draft for the Dolphins. I don't think they did as good as our Bills did, but still, they didn't have the draft capital we did going into it. Again, they traded for Josh Rosen during the draft, so you can add that to how good they did in the NFL draft, and maybe that will indicate how well they did, and maybe that adds a little bit of stock, because they didn't give up that much for Josh Rosen. They actually got him pretty good, pretty cheap, after Arizona, of course, gets Kyler Murray. So, the Miami Dolphins last year finished 31st in yards, only behind the Buffalo Bills, of course. No, the Arizona Cardinals, I'm sorry. Passing yards to finish 30th, rushing yards to finish 18th overall. So, again, you have to wonder if they can do better. Again, you have Jim Caldwell as a quarterback coach. Jim Caldwell has been with some good quarterbacks in the past. You look at Josh Rosen's numbers from last season with Arizona. You're talking 2,278 yards, 11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, a 55% completion percentage. Obviously, all those numbers need to go up. Helps to have offensive line help. Maybe they address the offensive line as much as they would have liked to, but they still address it. Again, I could see the Dolphins being a 6 to 7 win team. I don't see them fighting New England for the division. Maybe they're scrapping, and maybe they scrap like the Bills did 2 seasons ago for a wild card spot, but maybe 6, 7 wins might be the max here for the Miami Dolphins. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're a Dolphins fan, do you like that projection? Do you think, whoa, no, we are only going to win 3 or 4 games? What do you see? Or do you think, hey, maybe we can fight for 9, 10 wins and get ourselves in that wild card spot? Again, let me know what you think. I want to give the Dolphins much of a shot at winning the division. I would say that their chance to win the division is somewhere between 10 and 15%. But again, you're saying there is a chance. And out of the percentages, guys, I'm doing 100% between the 3 teams. If New England's not going to win, who is going to win? I'm going to do between the 3 teams, start at 100%. So I'm giving the Dolphins, I'll go with a 12.5% chance to win the division out of the 3 other teams other than the New England Patriots. We move on. We talk about the New York, New Jersey Jets. Jets, Jets finished 4-12 in 2018. Of course, last season they drafted Sam Darnold, got a young quarterback in there. The New York Jets have not made the postseason the past 8 seasons, looking to end that drought this season. Can they do it? And more importantly, can they beat the Patriots in the AFC East? Going down the New York Jets, their owner is Woody Johnson. Their head coach and current GM is Adam Gase. If you don't know, the New York Jets recently fired their GM, saying that him and Adam Gase were having a little trouble back and forth, and that Adam Gase actually did not want to spend all that money on Le'Veon Bell, which of course creates a drift between Le'Veon Bell and the head coach and the current acting GM. Now the question is he going to be the acting GM at the beginning of the season? I personally don't think so. You need to remove him from that before the season starts so he can focus on being a head coach. The longer he is interim GM and head coach, the more problems that's going to be for the New York, New Jersey Jets. So we look down. This is the 19th head coach in franchise history, Adam Gase. Offensive coordinator, Dell Logans, and then defensive coordinator, named Bills fans will know, Greg Williams. So that defense, adding CJ Mosley, a young defense, I think they're actually going to improve greatly this season. I feel like, and we talked about Jet Central during one of our collaboration videos, I feel like all the turnovers Sam Darnold committed last season affected how well the defense actually performed as far as allowing points, allowing yards. That defense gets tired, and then what do you see? You see the stats decline for that defense, as offenses, of course, will take advantage of that every single time. But the addition of CJ Mosley, some of the additions in the NFL draft and in free agency are going to help that defense be only better. I see the Jets having a top 10 defense. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section below. And then you look at that offense, Sam Darnold. Of course, Sam Darnold did have some turnover problems, especially early in the season, last season, right? He threw a lot of turnovers. He actually led the league in interceptions last season for a big part of it. Gets hurt, comes back. He actually does a decent job keeping, limiting the turnovers, and he does lead that come from behind victory against our Buffalo Bills late in the season. So he looks a little bit better, gives Jets fans reason for optimism. Then you sign Le'Veon Bell, you sign CJ Mosley, you sign some nice wide receivers, and everything's looking up for the New York Jets. And then what happens? Bam, you put a halt on it just like that when you fire your GM just after the NFL draft. Going into the NFL draft, the New York Jets wanted to get out of that number 3 spot. Everyone knew it. It was the worst kept secret in the NFL. The Jets wanted out at 3. Couldn't find a trade partner good enough for them. So what do? They get who a lot of people would say arguably, and I agree, the best player in the NFL draft. Remember, in my pre-draft coverage, I said the Bills draft up in the top 10. This is the only guy worth drafting up for. That's Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama. Again, we knew the Jets wanted to trade out of that pick, but it doesn't hurt getting the best player. And again, it only helps that defense out to continue to get better. Talk about run stopper in Quinnen Williams. Man, this guy's going to stop the run all day. Talking about 2 teams in Buffalo and Miami who tend to like to run the ball a little bit more. And, we talk about New England with Sony Michel. This is a guy who's going to put a halt to that right away. In the 3rd round, remember, the New York Jets do not have any second-round picks due to trading up with the Colts last year to get Sam Darnold. And again, that's why they wanted to trade back so they can add more draft capital. But in the 3rd round, they get a guy that I really like too. Defensive end, Jachai Polite. A lot of people thought Polite would be good in Buffalo. Again, we have 2 defensive ends who are getting ready to possibly not be on the team next season. It would be nice to get a good young defensive end in there, and that's what they get in Jachai Polite from Florida. And then later in the 3rd round, the New York Jets strike again, getting guys Sam Darnold's going to be very familiar with. That's Chuma Edoga, tackle from USC. They played together at USC. Now coming over, going to help that offensive line. In the 4th round, they pick up a tight end in Trevon Wesco. Maybe we moved up. The Bills moved up in the end of the 3rd round with 96 overall pick to get the tight end the Jets actually wanted. We'll see. And then in the 5th round, they get Blake Cashman, linebacker from Minnesota. 6th round, Bashawn Austin, cornerback from Rutgers. So the Jets had a lot of needs, just like the Bills, going into this offseason. You look at 2 teams very similar, and they both address those needs the best way they see fit. The Jets did it by adding premier talent. Again, you talk about Le'Veon Bell, you talk about CJ Mosley, spent a lot of the money that they had going into free agency on big-name guys. Again, they pick up Jamison Crowder, Josh Bellamy at the wide receiver spot. They pick up Ty Montgomery at running back as well. They signed CJ Mosley and Neville Hewitt. There's a lot of decent signings in here, but mostly around Le'Veon Bell and CJ Mosley, and that's fine. We're going to see how well that works. But again, you hear about Adam Gase not wanting to spend that money on the running back position, while Le'Veon Bell tweeted out saying, hey, I'm going to keep doing what I do. The unfortunate thing is, Le'Veon Bell is still yet to show up. We know that these practices weren't mandatory, but at the same time, it will look good with a new team, new head coach to show up if you could. So do the New York Jets have a chance to beat the New England Patriots? Vegas seems to think that out of the 3 teams we're talking about in this video, the Jets are the best of the 3. Currently, I have the Jets to win 8 games this season. That's what they're projected as. And I have them just around that number. If I was projecting the New York Jets this season, again, the sooner you get Adam Gase out of that GM role, the better it's going to be. But it seems like it's going to last a little bit longer. And the more time he spends in both spots, the less time he has to focus on being a head coach, and that's only going to worsen the team. So how good will this team be? Well, we know that early in the season, defense beats offense, right? And again, I think this Jets team has a chance to have a top 10 defense, so I think they get a couple wins early. Possibly week 1 against our Buffalo Bills. We'll see. But I do see them finishing around 8-8, maybe 9-7 again, and that's not going to be good enough to win the division. So you talk about the Miami Dolphins with I think that's a 13.5 or 12.5% chance to win the division. I think the Jets are better than the Dolphins with a young quarterback who's kind of proven that he can be better in Sam Darnold with the same team, not like Josh Rosen coming into a new situation. So I'm going to say the Jets, if they play well, they have their max win total is probably somewhere between 10 and 11 wins. That's what I think. So that's their max. So that means I give them a 40% chance, out of the 3 teams we're talking about to beat the New England Patriots in the division. And then, of course, we have our Buffalo Bills. Now, if you've been following me, you know that we've done draft coverage covering every single one of the Buffalo Bills NFL draft picks. So I'm not going to bore you with that stuff. We talk about our owners, Kim and Terry Pegula. This is going to be the third year owning the or no, I'm sorry, this is going to be the fifth year, I believe, owning the Buffalo Bills. Head coach Sean McDermott, GM Brandon Beane, probably the best young quarterback GM duo currently out there in the NFL, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section below. They've just done a great job. You talk about the 21 free agent signings. Again, we covered every single one of the free agent signings here on Believers Talk, so you can look back and see those as well. Again, we didn't do the Jets route, right? We didn't go spend a lot of money on the top players, but we did get second-tier players, and we got a bunch of them, right? You talk about Cole Beasley. You talk about Mitch Morse inside. You talk about John Brown outside. There's a lot of good talent here. You talk about NFL draft where we do get Ed Oliver with that 9th overall pick. We do get Devin Singletary in the 3rd round. We take players that can make a difference. You talk about addressing the offensive line. Well, not only did we sign 6 offensive line free agents, we also drafted Cody Ford. So that really is going to help our offensive line. So that's why I really like this Buffalo Bills team. Out of the 3 teams we talk about in this video, they are the only team that has a consistency at head coach and a consistency at GM, and they're not worried about those things, right? You talk about GM, defensive or head coach and defensive coordinator, very defensive mind. You talk about Leslie Frazier, and you're talking about Sean McDermott, very defensive mind, number 2 defense in the league last year, and I feel like that defense can only get better, right? Talk about Ed Oliver possibly clogging up that middle. Again, we had the 16th rush defense in the NFL last season, not that great. But now we had Ed Oliver in that middle there. Matt Milano hopefully comes back from injury looking as good, if not better than before. Talk about Tremaine Edmonds, a 2nd year under his belt. This team can be the team that beats the New England Patriots for that AFC East crown. I truly believe that. I know as a Bills fan, some people are going to say, oh, you're just biased. And it's possible. It's possible. But you're talking about in the AFC East, we're the only team, like I said, with a GM and coach who are both the same as last season. So that means the philosophy is the same. You're talking about a team that went and got 21 free agents. They saw the problems on their team, and they addressed every single one of them, even getting a tough guy like Frank Gore in their leadership to add to the team. And then you talk about a draft. We killed it in the draft. Everyone's giving us an A. I gave us a B+ in the draft. Great draft for the Buffalo Bills. This team is a team on the rise. And again, I think the Patriots are still going to win this division. However, if there's a team that is going to come up and beat them, the Jets have a good shot, but the Bills, I believe, have just a little bit better of a shot. Currently, Vegas has the Buffalo Bills with 6.5 wins this season. I think that's, again, a slap in the face of the Buffalo Bills. If you're a Bills fan, if you're not a Bills fan, if you're a betting man, I say go bet the over on the Buffalo Bills. I say the max win total here for the Bills. Again, easy schedule for the AFC East, right? Max win total, I'm looking at 12 wins, 12-4, and that might be good enough, especially if we split with New England, might be good enough to beat them in the AFC East. So again, I have the Jets sitting there at 40% chance to win the AFC East. Out of the 3 teams we talked about, not including New England, again, I gave New England the majority of the chance to win the AFC East. But out of the 3 teams we talked about, the Jets, I'm giving a 40% chance to win the AFC East. The Miami Dolphins, I give a 12.5% chance to win the AFC East, which means if you do calculations, sports fans, the Buffalo Bills, I believe, have a 47.5% chance out of 3 teams that we talked about to win the AFC East. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you think I'm crazy, or let me know if you think, hey, that's pretty dead on accurate. Again, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. My name is Joe. Hit that subscribe button, like this video. We're going to continue to keep you covered throughout the off season, going into the preseason, regular season, and then beyond. So hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think. I'll talk to y'all soon. Until I do, go Bills.